On the evening of the 16th of November 1957, a farmer and handyman by the name of Edward Theodore Gein was arrested by police in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. He was suspected of having some connection to the disappearance of a local woman the day before. When officers were dispatched to search the Gein farm, however, it wouldn't be just one woman they discovered, but multiple human bodies, some of them disfigured in terrible ways. Gein, it emerged, was a prolific serial killer and body snatcher. His crimes have gone down in history as some of the most obscene ever committed. At school in his younger years, Gein was a shy and slightly odd child. He spent most of his time alone, largely due to the influence of his mother, who would punish him severely whenever he tried to make friends. She often kept Gein and his brother Henry confined to the family farm. There she read Bible passages to them and preached about the evils of the outside world. Gein remained on the farm for most of his life. When he was 38, a fire he and his brother Henry had set to burn away vegetation got out of control. The fire department was called to extinguish the blaze, which they successfully did. It was only once their job was complete, however, that they made a terrible discovery. Henry was dead, face down in a patch of marsh. He had been asphyxiated and struck in the head. There is little doubt, in retrospect, that this was Gein's first murder. At the time, however, a lack of evidence meant that it was recorded as an accident. Gein's mother died a few years after Henry. Gein continued to live in the farmhouse alone, occupying a single bedroom beside the kitchen. He boarded up every other room in the house and lived in filthy, chaotic conditions within the tiny space that remained. It was during this time that Ed's interest in darker subject matter began to grow. He developed a taste for death cult magazines and Nazi cannibal adventure stories. 13 years after Gein killed his brother, a local hardware store owner, Bernice Warden, disappeared in mysterious circumstances. Bernice had been seen the previous night, but on that morning had not opened up her store. Her son, a sheriff's deputy, went to investigate and discovered bloodstains and an open cash register. Gein had been the last customer to visit the store, purchasing a gallon of antifreeze. Suspicion immediately fell upon him, and he was arrested at a grocery store nearby. Officers were dispatched to his farm, where they made a series of grisly discoveries. As well as the body of Bernice Warden, which had been hung up and gutted like a deer, there were also dozens of other bodies and hundreds of body parts. Gein had impaled skulls on his bedposts and made bowls and kitchen utensils from human bones. He had upholstered chairs and made leggings and a wastebasket from human skin. Other discoveries included a belt made of nipples, a pair of lips being used as a window shade drawstring, a corset made of a female torso, and a lampshade made from a human face. Gein did not try to hide the truth from the police. He admitted to making more than 40 visits to 3 local graveyards to dig up bodies. His goal, he told them, was to make a woman's suit. Following the death of his domineering mother, he had been determined to craft a second skin out of stolen body parts so that he could wear it and experience what it would have been like to be her. It was discovered that Gein had killed at least one other victim, a woman named Mary Hogan, who had disappeared some years before, and whose remains were found in Gein's house. He was, however, charged only with Bernice Warden's slaying, to which he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Few people quibbled with the idea that he was insane. He was declared unfit to stand trial and sent to a mental hospital. Despite one attempt to retry him, he was never again declared anything other than insane, and spent the rest of his life in various institutions. Gein died of natural causes, aged 77, at the Mendota Mental Health Institute on July 26, 1984. While the memories of his victims have faded into obscurity, his gruesome legend lives on. Ed Gein's story has been the inspiration for numerous horror books and films, including the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He is one of the most well-known and despised serial killers in American history.